contemporary fashion. Her designs have styled individuals within Nigeria and abroad. Beyond fashion design, she is an educator who has trained numerous individuals in fashion and textile production and has served as a specialized tutor with the Stars Scrabble Network. Her creative journey includes a successful 2024 solo exhibition and internship experiences at the Nike Art Gallery, where she further developed her passion for artisanal craftsmanship and cultural preservation. Her work continues to promote elegant, modest, and timeless fashion, guided by a strong foundation of faith and professional excellence. Good morning, Oluchukwu Praise Joseph, and welcome to Trade FM's Breakfast Business Briefing.
It's nice being here, and it's also share my experience and my knowledge on indigenous fabrics.
Yeah, it's nice to have you here. So, my first question for you is, when I see young people like that go into adire making and Ankara, when they go into I know, like indigenous fashion pieces, when they go into making that. Now, the one thing I always ask them is this: what actually inspired your passion for transforming these fabrics into contemporary fashion pieces?
Okay, I would say how I started and liked adire is because of the story behind it.
Okay.
And the fact that you have to be creative with it. You don't need to be perfect I think the creativity comes from the imperfection in creating the designs, and you just flow with it. So for this contemporary design, where we get to make designs with it, it's not just limited to occasional outfit like maybe you need to make it for occasional wears. You can also be putting it into the corporate space. You can wear it to brunch. You can wear it as a casual outfit, so it's not just limited to occasional outfits.
Okay. So now, how do you balance preserving the authenticity of traditional fabrics while creating designs that appeal to today's fashion market?
Okay, the authenticity of adire fabric is the fact that it's handmade. Even for weaving the ashoki and all of that, the fact that it's handmade, that's what makes it authentic. It's not machine printed, it's handmade by artisans. So that's what makes it authentic. And for the other parts where you said,
I was asking, how do you balance preserving the authenticity of the fabrics while creating designs that appeal to today's fashion market?
Okay, designs that appeal to today's fashion market is designs that are stylish, and in as much as adire is handmade and all, the fact that you make it very much fashionable is not just looking boring and all of that. So that's how it keeps evolving as fashion trends keep coming.
So now, this is me asking out of curiosity. Growing up, my mom is a Yoruba woman, and I watched her wear the likes of adire, ashoke, and the likes, and I always associated it with old people's fashion.
Yeah.
Yes, but now that we are growing, or rather now that we are
seeing the beauty.
Yeah, we're not seeing like the beauty of it.
Because fashion trends are changing, and the fact that people are now putting it is not just limited to Buba, like this old stuff. The fact that you can make it more fashionable, like you can even mix it with contemporary fabric like denim, to make it more fashionable. Especially now that we're in the Gen Z, they will not want to wear something that is boring, something that is bright and the prints are very
Yes, and for instance, I've seen some Nigerian people wear Iran, but then the weight has only cooled now, which is very funny.
It's not just long and
it's
very
stylish and boring.
yeah.
Yes.
So that's
okay. So now let's talk about you and the fabrics you work with, because I know I've come across a lot of people that do adire and ashoke and the likes. So now my question to you is this: which Nigerian indigenous fabric has been the most exciting for you? I know you would have worked with a lot. Which one is the most exciting for you to work with, and what makes it unique?
Okay, for me, I would say is the adire fabric and the ashoke. What makes this unique for me, because I'm able to create my designs by myself, tell my own story with my design. It's not it's not just drafted out already. I create my own designs and sell it out to people. So the ability to be creative in what I do is what makes it special.
Okay. So this is with my next question. Now, how do you introduce modern design elements into these designs without losing the cultural identity of indigenous textiles?
Okay, I would say the aspect of imputing modern like silhouettes into like using the indigenous fabric to create them.
Yeah.
So while retaining it, you still make it more fashionable, make it more stylish. It's not just there. Like people can easily like relate with it, and when you tell story with it, like your design tells stories, not just okay, I did this. What's the story behind it? What made you create it? What are the special motifs you use in creating it? So what the story behind it? And Andrea has his own story. So when you tell it very well, people will be able to like relate with it better and want to embrace it.
Okay. You know, now you said that every outfit has their own story.
Yes.
Now, I'd like to say, color me curious. Out of curiosity, what is the story behind the outfits?
Okay. Apart from the outfit, like the patterns too, especially in Nigeria, it has like pattern motifs too. So all that has like its own story. But this one, I just wanted something that can fit into like a corporate space and it's still looking very much stylish and all. Still with the mix of denim and athleisure.
It's actually really nice.
Thank you.
And so now, what roles does research into Nigeria's cultural heritage play in your design process? Because earlier you had mentioned that the story behind the Adira is actually very nice.
I think those in like in the 60s and in the 90s, they use Adira to pass a message. The motif they use in creating it, they use it to pass a message. Whereby they have motifs of the circle of life, like different motifs they use in passing a message to create their own identity too. So they were able to relate with it during those times to pass it. Yeah.
That's actually really nice.
So most people don't really know about it. They just say, oh, this design, just add it. They don't really like study, do their research to know more about the patterns, to know how the patterns came about and all of that.
So now, what's message is pattern in your outfit?
Okay, this one does not really have a pattern. It is marbling. This is not batik. This is just Adire. Marbling. Just dyeing it. So just the fabric is wet. We marble it and sprinkle different dye on it. But for the other one that has like the batik where you get to and draw, so there are different motifs, spiral, fishbone, other motifs where you get to do that.
Okay. So now, what are some of the creative techniques you use to make traditional outfits, the traditional fabrics, attractive to younger generations?
Making traditional fabrics, especially underwears, I use some people use, there are different type of underwear making. They have the core, they have the one we use wax to make, just to resist, the wax is to resist the pattern you're making before the final product. Like a blocking of. So that is the pattern I use. Then for weaving, we have like local artisans that weave fabric to give them the design you want, to weave what you want.
Okay. So now, how do you make it appealing to the younger generations like Gen Z?
Okay, it's just how creative you can be with, after making the fabrics, how creative you can be with the final output of the fabric. So you have to study what the Gen Z like, and from that you can be able to create your own unique design. So for the Gen Z, they feel something really free, stylish, easy going and all of that. Not something that is just minimal. Some people like minimal things, so it just gives the balance of
Okay. So now, how has the growing appreciation for African fashion influenced the demand for indigenous fabrics both locally and internationally?
I think if I'm to say for Nigeria, over time it has increased, especially for Adire, but there are counterfeits out there which people don't really know. So when you come with the original and the price is on the high side, they're like questioning it. But those that know, like know fabric, they can detect which one is. So for Nigeria, most of them, I think why it's like that is because most of them don't really know the value of what the fabrics hold. They don't know the process in making it because it takes time. Because it's handmade, so it takes time. So most people don't really understand. So when you tell story with it, they get to like know why is the value is that way, so they can buy into it and all of that.
Yeah. I've also noticed a couple of people, and I'm talking about different races now, for example, like I've seen Hispanic, I've seen
Especially when I was in Nika Gallery, I see like the white people come in and they are very much like interested in buying it because of they were able to tell a story more better with it. So when they come, like they tell them the story of the patterns and they are very much excited to get it. So I just feel like people need to like go and study their culture to get more knowledge on it.
So now, what challenges do designers face when sourcing high quality indigenous fabrics, and how can these challenges be addressed?
High quality challenges they face. I'll just say it might be looking for if it's for I'll first start with like getting like quality cotton fabric, because if you're not using 100% quality fabric, it's not going to work. It's not going to bring down. It's not even going to die in the first place.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you're going. It's necessary that it's like 100% cotton. So after sourcing that, you source for artisans, creative artisans, those that understand your concept and relate with them better, so they can bring your ideas to light. So there's not really much challenges if you have your way of going around it, like getting the artisans to bring your designs to life.
Like now you mentioned that Adire is mostly done on cotton fabrics, but I have seen a situation whereby I was actually the one who was sent on market runs to search for quality silk fabrics.
Yeah,
so that they
some
can
silks that are cotton.
Yes.
Like there are different type of fabric. It's just to make sure like they are cotton, like the yarn used in making the fabric are cotton. So it comes in chiffon, it comes in silk, it comes in cotton. So the cotton is just not limited to how it feels like. Yeah.
That makes sense. Now, how do you ensure that every outfit tells a unique story through its choice of fabric, colors, and patterns?
I would say first off is to understand the flow of the fabric. For silk, it's something that just falls, it has this shining. So when you're creating design that appeals to it, it should be something probably flowy, something that feels like a fabric. You don't need to like, it's just like taking silk and using it to sew something, it will not really flow. So understanding the fabric type will help you to better know what fits it. And being creative, tell your own story through your designs. Why using this motif? I would say for one of my design, my first collection is one of my first collection where I use like an hibiscus flower to do like the motifs on it. So it just me telling my own story. I named the dress like Bloom, telling my own story of hibiscus and all of that with it.
Okay. Now, in your own opinion, what makes indigenous fabrics capable of competing with international fashion materials?
I would say it's the story behind it. Because random fabric doesn't really have any story, doesn't really have any history about it. So the fact that the fabrics hold history, it came down from memory lane, from ancestors and all of that. So that's, I think that is it's good enough to compete with the market, and the fact that it's creative, it's not something that you can easily duplicate, because most of them are handmade, so it's not something you can easily duplicate. So the counterfeit is people now go to maybe China to print on it, but the authenticity of the fabric is already gone because it's not handmade. So that's what makes it, because you cannot easily find the exact pattern in the market, especially if there's a designer that gave you the number of the design to be manufactured. So you cannot sell out the designer. So that's what makes it.
Okay. So now let's talk about technology. How has technology, including digital design and social media, helped to showcase indigenous fabrics to a wider audience?
I would say people are now like buying into it because they see people put it on, like people of reputation, people. When I go to events, I see like people really wearing it to events, and social media is pushing it, and people are beginning to buy into it, and the fact that it's not just limited to the old-fashioned ways. So social media has really helped people to buy into the idea of adware, the idea of ashoke, because they can now see that it's fashionable. It's not just for the older women, they can also style it in their own way.
So now, how can, you're a fashion designer
Yeah.
yourself, if I'm not mistaken. So now, let me ask about collaborations, because I know earlier you had mentioned artisans, being able to work with artisans, tell them the story behind the fabric. So now my question is, how can collaborations between local artisans and fashion designers help preserve traditional textile making skills while creating economic opportunities for local communities?
I'll start with, I think recently, this week I went to like where they make and we were talking about how like designers bring their design to create for them, maybe in 50 yards and all of that. So it's to build that connection with them that they can easily relate with you. Probably you have your digital design already, you've drafted it out. So it's just for them to implement it on the fabric and bring it to life. So creating that relationship where you relate with artisans very well, to like tell them how you want it to be, tell them how you want it to feel, and bring it to life.
Okay. So now, what opportunities do you see for indigenous fabrics in the global luxury fashion industry? And before you answer that, you know one thing about we Nigerians, or most Nigerians, as Nigerians we're classists. An average Nigerian is classist.
Yes,
we know that. And I was just put luxury behind something, you say, yes, that's the deal. So now, what opportunities do you see?
Okay, if I'm coming from the artisans aspect of it, the opportunities there is, I think it's creating more opportunity because now there is a high demand. There will be need for more artisans to work with. So I think job opportunity is created there for people that are willing to like go into it. Then for the part you said luxury.
The luxury fashion industry, the global luxury
I
fashion.
think why is like that because I would say the cost of making it. Because by the time it was before when they have like textile factories in Kano, in Kaduna, but now they're shut down. They're not like effective as before. If they were, there are some things that will be like some price that will be cut down when they produce their own cotton here. Like they produce the fabric, because now I think a large percent was like they after getting the wool they have to like transport it out and bring it again, buy it higher price, like buy the cotton, the fabric in higher price. So by the time you bring the fabric, you have to pay the artisans, the all of that just attributes to why it's the cost of producing it is only high, and the fabric itself is
luxurious.
yeah.
Ah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of
So
sense.
if like the government can like put it back into, because that time textile production they had there was lots of opportunities, lots of jobs because they have a factory, they have manufacturing house. So it created a lot of job opportunities. So if they can bring that back, like make textile factories in Nigeria work again, it would be nice.
Okay. So now, are the government doing enough, or is there anything being done by government to support indigenous fabric
I
makers?
think in a way they're doing it. Some have good intentions, some are for political reasons. So if you know, some are for good intention and putting it back into, I'll just like put it back like Nigeria, putting it back into Nigerian made products. Like I recently did the UNDP where they made like Nigerian products and the real leather and all of that. Yeah, so some are for political reasons where like they get people, okay, they want to invest in Nigerian made product but they are going for their own pockets. So that's just it. So if they can put more in like making the factories like in Nigeria work again, so it would be really nice to reduce the cost of things.
So now, what advice would you give to emerging fashion designers who want to build successful brands around African fabrics?
I would say they should understand the market, do their research, because most times people see the beauty or the final result, they don't know the stress in like making it. You just say, oh, it's this and that, but when it now comes to like the stress in making it, they pull out. So before you go into it, you should like take your time to do your research, understand it. If it's something that you find fun in doing and all of that, you can go into it and in your own way be creative with your own design. That's what makes it authentic to you. Yeah. So but when you are copying other people's designs, I don't know, it doesn't what will make someone leave where it's buying to come and buy yours, because they now have different address suppliers. So what makes your design special for someone to what are the storytelling behind your own design? So that's what I'm saying. So if you are going into it, do your research, count your costs, know if you will be able to do it to the end.
Okay. Not just that.
Yeah, by the time you see the stress, you're like,
I don't have what this one.
yeah, because you have to calculate your cost, know your market, know your market, and if you have that kind of audience, know your audience you're delivering to before you go into. Because you cannot have your audience of maybe their budget is not as high as that, and you're going into that, you will not get people buy from you and all of that.
Yes. So now the final question I have for you is this. Looking to the future, what innovations would you like to introduce to further transform indigenous fabrics into contemporary fashion while preserving their cultural significance?
Innovative ways. I would say first of all, they should work on the production setting because it will really do a whole lot. If like there are certain system put in place for a very good production, yeah, they have some machines. So if that is put in place, it will be easy to make like a number of them in a day. Because a situation whereby rain falls, there's not enough water, no light, so all those things affect like the production of and the repostate time. So all those things affect because you have to allow the fabric to dry before you can work on it. So if it's raining, there's no drying machine, all those kind of stuff. So if that is provided in the machinery part of it, it's also good. And for a global space, I would say just be unique about it, just be creative. Because people buy into creativity, not just like a dress, why should I buy your dress? What inspired you? So if you're able to connect with your audience, tell them what are the story behind it, tell them the history behind the fabrics we make, and they'll be able to buy into it.
Okay. Oluchukwu, praise Joseph. Thank you very much for joining us this morning and for sharing your inspiring journey, your creative vision, and valuable insights into the evolution of Nigeria's indigenous fashion industry.
Thank you very much. It's a great time being here to share my personal experiences and the little knowledge I have.
Yes. Today's discussion has reminded us that indigenous fabrics are much more than cultural artifacts. They are economic assets capable of driving entrepreneurship, preserving heritage, creating employment, and expanding Nigeria's presence within the global creative economy. By blending traditional craftsmanship with contemporary design, fashion entrepreneurs are demonstrating that innovation does not require abandoning culture. Rather, it thrives when culture is reimagined for modern markets. As Nigeria continues to diversify its economy through the creative and cultural industries, greater investment in local textile production, artisan development, fashion education, and market access will be essential. Supporting indigenous fabrics means supporting thousands of weavers, dyers, designers, tailors, and entrepreneurs whose creativity continues to showcase the richness of Nigerian culture while generating sustainable economic opportunities. Ultimately, every locally made fabric tells a story, every handcrafted design preserves a legacy, and every successful fashion enterprise contributes to building a stronger, more competitive creative economy. When we celebrate indigenous fabrics, we celebrate Nigeria's identity, innovation, and future. If you are just joining us, you can catch highlights and be part of this conversation on our social media platforms. We are Trade FM live across all platforms, and that's Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and our YouTube channel. We'll take a break now, and then we'll return with 11 a.m. news on the hours. Stay with us.